Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and thanks for joining us for our 6 p.m. news over Camdis television. Straight away, let's begin with our headlines. Honorable Mali's Sobotonde steps into a historic role at the National Assembly, taking the helm to guide the March ordinary session and oversee key elections. With a distinguished career and respected reputation, she brings experience, authority, and a steady hand to the legislative floor. General Kami Nkwa Atenga is no more. He passed away on Tuesday, March 10, 2026 after battling with a brief illness. Tributes have poured in from family, colleagues and citizens alike, honoring his life of service, dedication and enduring impact on Cameroon's military and society. And we shall be taking a tour out of the country where several people have died in Goma in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as renewed violence escalates. Local authorities and humanitarian sources report multiple casualties and damaged buildings, highlighting the fragile security situation in the region. You have these stories and more in a bit. Thanks once more for joining us. As you heard in one of our lead stories, the National Assembly now has a new oldest member to chair the March ordinary session. Honorable Mali's Sobotonde takes over from late Laurenti Nkwa Mfege. The professional and political portrait of the new dean is presented to us in the following report by Promise Akante.
Born on the 7th of April 1947 in Douala of the Canton Berlin Bonanjo, Marlies Sobotonde is one of those women who have marked their footprints in the sand of time in Cameroon. Her professional career kicked off in 1971 when she emerged winner of the very first flight attendant competition launched by Cameroon Airlines, marking the start of 32 years of experience in the air transport sector with Cameroon Airlines, where she grew from flight attendant, chief cabin attendant, passing through senior cabin manager, senior administrative officer to head of high contribution customer service before picking up the post of administrative manager in charge of reception management and supervision of commercial service agents. The mother of one and grandmother of three was trained at the French National Civil Aviation School with a safety and rescue certificate CSS. But away from the aviation world, where she earned a silver, bronze and gold medal for her dedication and hard work at Cameroon Airlines, Honorable Marlies Sobotonde is a political figure entering into grassroots politics as municipal councillor, first deputy mayor of the Douala 2 Council from 2002 to 2007. She returned in 2007 and was the second deputy mayor of the Douala 2 Council and was the deputy mayor. She returned in 2007 and was the second deputy mayor of the Douala 2 Council up to 2013. The new eldest member of the lower house of Cameroon's bicameral parliament represents her constituency in the National Assembly since the 10th of March 2020 and is a full member of the High Council of the Judiciary appointed by the President of the Republic, head of state since the 15th of June 2020. The elected member of the National Bureau of the WCPDM is also a member of several socio-economic and community development associations. She is invested in national construction projects, assisting underprivileged social groups, combating unsanitary conditions and urban disorder. Honorable Marlies Sobotonde is a Knight of the National Order of Merit, Commander of the Cameroonian Order of Merit, Officer of the National Order of Merit and Commander of the National Order of Merit. She is charged with organizing the election of the new Bureau of the National Assembly during this March ordinary session, to which she cannot take part.
The Senate has convened for the first session or ordinary session for the 2026 legislative year. Besides electing a new bureau and eminently scrutinizing bills that will be tabled, the senators also came with expectations for this session and have voiced or have been voicing their thoughts, as we gather in the following report compiled to us by Promise Akante and Elise Yanda.
Opening the session on Tuesday, March 10, the eldest member of the upper house of Cameroon's bicameral parliament vehemently condemned the recent femicide reported in the country while calling for the empowerment of women and girls. Senator René Zingele reminded the senators of the place of women and youth in the current mandate of the head of state, calling on all stakeholders to implement the head of state's plan for youth and women, a call which was particularly appreciated by the senators.
They kill so many women in our country. What I can say is, I hope for us to make a law to put in our education, so nursery to the university, to try to put in the mind of our country that is too poor, women and men. And the women is from where I can say, through the women, that we can build our country.
Holding in the month of March when women are in the spotlight, the problem of land ownership by women cannot be neglected by the senators who, as traditional rulers, have a big role to play.
There are lots of changes in the land reform in the country, and the most recent is a decision that was taken to include traditional rulers in the process of land ownership in Cameroon. And of course, that decision gave powers to first and second class traditional rulers to have a say when whoever wants to obtain any piece of land in their territory. And again, priorities are also given to women as far as land ownership is concerned.
Going by the law, the members of the upper house say there is no law prohibiting women from owning land in Cameroon.
When I looked at the law on lands, there is no provision that actually prohibits a woman from owning land. There's no provision that says a woman cannot have a land title, because final ownership to land is what? Land title.
The March ordinary session of Parliament is also holding a few weeks to the first ever visit of Pope Leo XIV to Cameroon. To the senators, this is a powerful spiritual, political and diplomatic message.
But when you have a situation like this where the Almighty God has chosen our land for the papal visit, it puts everyone to silence, and the obvious is said. Cameroon is very important. Cameroon spiritually is very important, and a pope doesn't visit for visiting's sake. There's a lot of prayers behind it, and that decision usually is divine. It's a very high-profile visit, and people would see that Cameroon as a nation-state is respected. Cameroon as a nation-state has a very key part to play, not just in Central Africa, rich sub-region, and not just Africa, which is the continent, but even the world.
This session will undoubtedly be a special one, with the Senate to host the World Trade Organization Parliamentary Conference from the 24th to the 25th of March, alongside the Interministerial Conference of the same organization. The event is co-organized by the Interparliamentary Union, the European Parliament and the Cameroon Parliament, and it is the very first international meeting organized by the upper house of Cameroon's bicameral parliament.
And onto this sad news, as you heard in one of our lead stories, the nation is in mourning following the passing of Major General Camille Nkwa Atenga, a distinguished military officer, writer and patriot who succumbed to a brief illness on Tuesday, March 10, 2026 at the Yaoundé University Teaching Hospital. The atmosphere at his residence here in Yaoundé was sober this Wednesday as family, friends and military colleagues gathered to pay their last respect to a man who lived a life of purpose and legacy. Bertrand Tita and Madoshe Kwiate.
Born on August 3, 1940 in Okola, Leke division of the Central Region, Major General Nkwa Atenga Camille was a product of the finest institutions, having attended the Catholic mission of Long, Mvok College and George High Schools in Douala. He obtained his baccalaureate in 1961 and went to join the Inter-Army Military Academy, EMIA, graduating as part of the reunification class. A decorated officer, Major General Nkwa Atenga Camille served with distinction in various capacities, including a section leader, company commander, and battalion commander in Buea. He later held key positions at EMIA, including head of the training division and head of military secretariat. His rise through the ranks was meteoric, culminating in his promotion to brigadier general in 1993 and major general in 2001. Beyond his military career, Major General Nkwa Atenga Camille was a prolific writer, authorizing several books on defense strategy, politics, and literature. His notable works include Reflections on Defense Strategy in Africa, published in 1980, Africa Facing World Peace, 1987, The Child of the Silent Revolt, 1999, and Malinda, Love Against a Backdrop of Broken Dreams in 2002. Tributes have poured in from across the nation, with Minister Delegate at the Presidency of the Republic in charge of Defense, Joseph Betty Asomo, on behalf of the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, describing the loss as a great loss to the family and the military. The secular added, the nation is forever grateful for his service and sacrifice. Major General Nkwa Atenga Camille leaves behind a wife, 7 children and grandchildren who mourn his passing. His legacy will be remembered for generations to come. The atmosphere at his residence in Yaoundé this Wednesday was sober as family, friends, and military colleagues gathered to pay their last respect to a man who lived a life of purpose and legacy.
And may his soul rest in peace. We now talk education in this newscast, where 12 Cameroonian institutions will benefit from a new academic cooperation agreement signed between the Association of Private Higher Education Institutions of Cameroon and its Russian counterpart, aimed at strengthening international collaboration. The partnership signed in Yaoundé on Tuesday will promote student mobility, research exchanges, and faculty development, with particular focus on joint research in tropical diseases and other priority fields. Madoshe Kwiate and Melanimbo.
In a significant step for bilateral relations, a landmark cooperation agreement has been signed between the Association of Private Higher Education Institutions of Cameroon and its Russian counterpart. The ceremony, which took place in Yaoundé, marks the beginning of a strategic partnership aimed at transforming the academic landscape between the two nations.
This partnership agreement that has been commenced today between the universities of Russia, the Federal Republic of Russia, and some chosen Cameroon universities, amongst which the Bilingual Sub-Regional University Institute Agenda Academy it's a partnership agreement that is going to be very vast in its application. We have, amongst others, research, exchange programs in research. We have exchange programs for students that shall be going to Russia, and Russian students that shall also be coming to Cameroon.
The agreement, praised by the Russian ambassador to Cameroon for its focus on future development, emphasizes the critical role of training. By linking Cameroonian institutions with experienced Russian universities such as the Patrice Lumumba University, the pact aims to build a robust framework for professional development.
Which we have some development programs that will permit some of our lecturers to get what they don't have here, and we also have the possibilities of some of the Russian universities and students to come here for what they don't have in Russia. I take, for example, research programs in tropical diseases and in other domains. So it's going to be a vast program. It all depends on the paths that shall be articulated at each point in time. But
under the themes of the initial action plans, the collaboration will focus on the 3 core pillars: research, exchange programs, student mobility, and faculty development initiatives. Specific attention will be given to joint research in high priority domains, including the study of tropical disease, allowing both nations to pool expertise for mutual benefit. 12 Cameroonian institutions are poised to benefit from the first phase of the project. These diverse groups represent a wide cross-section of private higher education in the country.
Of action includes stages that are going to pass through the Presidency of the Republic, because following the Cameroon law concerning partnership agreements that are supposed to be signed between Cameroon universities and foreign universities, the Presidency of the Republic is supposed to give its authorization, its visa, its accord. And this was just the first stage. It was like the manifestation of interest for that activity. And after that, the Cameroon government is going to give its accord, and we shall go to Russia to finalize the agreement.
The finalized text must now receive approved from the Presidency of the Republic before being formally ratified in Russia. Once implemented, the agreement is expected to significantly enhance academic exchanges, offering Cameroonian students and lecturers new opportunities for international exposure and specialized training.
And if you're just joining us, it is the 6 p.m. news over Camdis television. Let's now take a tour out of the country. First up in the Democratic Republic of Congo. As you heard in one of our lead stories, several people have died in Goma in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as renewed violence escalates. Local people casualties and damaged buildings, highlighting the fragile security situation in the region. Second stop will be in South Africa and then Egypt. These stories are compiled in the full report. Reportedly killed several people in the eastern city of Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo under the control of the March 23 rebel group. Residents reported explosions and drones over residential neighborhoods, with one strike hitting a UNICEF staff member's home and damaging nearby buildings. The March 23, active since 2021, accused the Congolese army of the attack, though the government has not responded. While the exact death toll is unclear, humanitarian sources report multiple casualties and targeted buildings, leaving the community in shock. The South African government has deployed soldiers on the streets of Johannesburg, particularly in the suburb of Rivale, to support police efforts in combating organized crime, gang violence, and illegal mining activities. The move follows an announcement by President Cyril Ramaphosa, who described organized crime as a major threat to the country's democracy and economic development. Around 550 soldiers have initially been mobilized in Gauteng province until the end of April, with plans to possibly extend the operation to other provinces. The measure comes amid persistently high crime levels in South Africa, where thousands of homicides are recorded each year. Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Matbouli announced that Egypt has raised fuel prices to protect the economy and maintain local production amid the impact of the Iran-Israel conflict on global oil prices. Diesel rose by over 17%, while 92 and 95 octane gasoline increased by 15% and 14%. The government says the measure aims to limit economic pressure as the country faces rising oil costs and a weakening Egyptian pound. He added that the decision was taken under exceptional circumstances and could be reviewed once the crisis subsides. Authorities have also introduced measures to cut fuel consumption and reduce non-essential government spending. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our 6 p.m. news over Camdis television. It was a pleasure staying with you. Do enjoy the rest of the evening in the company of interesting programs over the Republican channel. Meanwhile, I will be yours again tomorrow night exactly 6 p.m. Good evening.